to see you both. Thanks so much for your time.
Great
Katie,
to
what's
see
up?
you
Good to see
too.
you.
Good to see you. Bethany, I kind of wanted to start. Whenever you work on something that is like based on a world that was beloved, there's always kind of that interesting thing of like you'll do your research, you're gonna think about When Calls the Heart a lot, or you can kind of throw it away a little bit, right? Because this is Hope Valley 1874. What is your relationship with the fact that this is part of the same universe of When Calls the Heart?
My relationship with it starts with just being honored that we're a part of something that's got such a great legacy and has built a community that's so strong and connected. And we're hoping that we can bring that community in. From that point, because we're a prequel and not a sequel or an offshoot, um, I I didn't want to fill my mind too much with what they're doing with When Calls the Heart, because also what we're doing on Hope Valley 1874 is quite grand, as you've seen if you've watched
Yep.
the episodes, and ambitious in I mean, it's very cinematic and huge, and the world is so big. I guess I just didn't want it in the back of my mind. I didn't want to be affected by what people were expecting from us from having watched When Called the Heart. I want
Yep.
them to see something totally new. And the fact is the DNA of When Calls is built into our show.
Yes.
So it's in the writing, it's in the crew, the staff, the writing staff, the producers, the coloring,
Location.
the location. Yeah. So all those things are just baked in. So it is going to have that
No,
DNA.
that's so well said. Absolutely. And Benjamin, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see
And
you.
I did kind of want to ask because that script to screen journey really interests me because at some point, before you even go to camera for this, you can envision as much as you want in your head and you can talk to the showrunners and the writers and your cast, but then you get there and you see the sets. And like you said, it's so cinematic. What is that like for you with this show specifically? That when you finally get there to start filming?
Oh, what a good question. Just even the way you said it, because that's how I feel. There's one thing about reading it, my idea of it. Of course, I've watched all the cowboy movies. I love Westerns. And you're like, but what kind of cowboy am I? And then it's easy to project and think about it in that way until you put the clothes on and you're like, I'm just me as a cowboy. I'm not playing at anything other than the type of energy I bring to it. And I was very much influenced by the cowboys on set.
Mm.
Once they told me, because I didn't quite understand that the energy that the cowboy gives off to his horse, and all horses, like horses are very energetically intuitive to humans. So you kind of have to remain calm. And that just sort of grounded me in a way, especially because on the first day I was on my horse and they were like, and he told me, he said, oftentimes actors will come learn on the horse, ride around inside the barn and be like, oh, I kind of got this. But then when action comes, their heart will start racing a bit and they'll get like up in their head a bit and the horses get uneasy because they think something's going on and they feel the actor nervous on their back.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, so I just have to be so prepared that I can constantly remain as calm as possible on my horse
Yeah.
because I just didn't know. And especially when we got out there and it's raining and it's muddy and he's already a little miserable and he just wants to be back and there's no time. And it's like, and go. And it's like, and land on this mark because the cameras can't move. And I'm like trying to land on that mark and do the, and there was so much to do that it really brought everything down. It was very meditative. Actually, I found a very meditative way into playing him that I did not expect, and it grounded me right away and kind of sent me off on that path for the journey for the character.
No, that's well said. And Bethany, I'm just wondering because, you have an amazing body of work, different worlds, different characters, but it is all storytelling at the end of the day. And I'm just curious, do you bring mindsets or preparations from past projects to something like Hope Valley 1874, or are they completely separate once you wrap them?
I think it's a lovely question, so insightful and thoughtful. I think that because I've been so blessed and lucky to have been in this industry for so long and continue to get hired, that all those things build up and it just becomes a part of who I am. So when it's time to show up to work, it's just in my muscle memory. I would say like anyone else in their field who's been doing it for a long time, you have the muscle memory that just shows up.
Yeah.
So I think that's, yeah, I mean, there's always preparation of reading the scripts and understanding who the character is, and it helps to put on the clothes and things like that. But yeah, I don't think too hard about that. It's that.
Yeah,
Well, and
the muscle memories, that's a great way of putting it. Absolutely, no,
but it
but it's
also,
interesting because
in it when you're doing a movie, sometimes it takes a while to feel like you're getting into the body of it. And what's so nice about a series like this is you could just give us a scene and we'd be in the moment so quickly because we know our characters
Yes.
now. And it's such a blessing to have that, and if we're lucky enough to keep doing this, you just hit the ground running every time, and it just gets better and better and deeper, and and that's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And a last question I'm gonna throw at you both right now is an interesting one because I'm a filmmaker, so these are the things I think about, right? So we're gonna see, a scene in this show, and the runtime is gonna be with your characters for 2 minutes, and it's gonna go to the next scene, right? But I know that there's a very good chance, and Benjamin, you talked about like the horseback riding and everything, that even though we see 2 minutes, that scene might have taken the whole day or a couple of days to film. So when those big scenes happen, right, do they feel like their own mini movie, mini project, or do they overall feel part of Hope Valley
can.
1874?
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we've talked about it. Like, we might watch the show, but it's also the experience of making the show has been so like we've just lived it in such a different way than how it's going to be edited together.
Filming you while you're in school.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
that's
think
right.
I want to watch the tape of me learning.
Yeah.
I was there.
Well, and also, and as you just said, and I say this all the time, the time spent between action and cut is very small in a day.
Yeah.
Very small.
Football.
The rest of the time, it's football. The rest of the time is a whole other experience that's not captured. So when you watch it, it just feels like looking at photographs from the past, and you can't, it just doesn't have a complete feeling. So
I'm watching Homeland for the first time, and there's a scene where Damian Lewis is standing in a car wash and he's got blood all over him. He's shirtless and he's got a hose and he's hosing himself down. There's a shot from across the street on a long lens, and then there's one a little bit closer to him, and then there's one like right up here. And this shot is in the show for 7 seconds, maybe. But I know that setup, and he's got blood and he's wet. So every time they moved the camera, he had to either put on new jeans, they got to put on the dry ones, redo all the blood. He's got to hose himself. They got to dry him off. It's like that must have taken like 3 hours for a 7-second clip.
that's hilarious. It's always that uncomfortable having to be wet. I was just watching, is it called Game Plan or Game Day with The Rock? It's like a movie a long time. Literally, he's with his daughter and his smoothie blows up and he's just soaking wet. And then he's going to walk over and watching the scene going, ugh, I would hate to be like, it was just all over.
Yeah.
I know, it's so interesting to think about. And thank you both so much for your time, and I can't wait for people to see Hope Valley 1874 streaming on Hallmark Plus. It was great chatting with you both. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much, and best of luck with your projects moving forward.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.